Thank you very much, my brother. It's been a while.
Yes, it is.
We met.
Sharp.
It is well. Let me acknowledge our viewers and say good morning to everybody. I think I'm privileged this morning to share a platform with my brother Emmanuel Kuti, lawyer Martin Peru, and Franklin will always remain on the other side using technology to connect. But I said good morning to him as well. Interesting. Speaking briefly about why we are here today is to look at what is happening in this country vis-a-vis the security situation. Many days past, we talked about bullion van robberies. Why are robbers interested in committing such crimes? Robbers are interested because of what they will get out of that crime. They are interested in money. What does bullion vans do? They carry money. Why are police interested in protecting or providing security for bullion vans? To ensure that the money will get to their destinations. So why would the robber try as much as possible to outwit the police to get the money? So money is in the center. And I think the Bible says it very clearly that the love of money is the root of all evil. And when we talk about this root can be in any organization, including the police. So for me, the less than 1 year administration of Dr. George Akufu-Dampare has proven that they are willing to be transparent. And I think I'm excited about that transparency concept. We followed him over the past 7 months. And people are getting excited because people are getting to know what is really happening in the police. All the statements that I've read involving crimes that have been committed, the police involvement in everything that they've done, it's quite fantastic. But I can say, as a matter of fact, this last statement, I read it over 10 times. And I said, no. I looked at it. Who signed it? DCOP Kosifori. You know, the first one that gave us hope was signed by the director. And the second one that gave us the full story was signed by the Director General himself. So when I saw the weight of the person who signed the statement, I had to go back and read it again. And this morning I read it again. I spoke to a few friends. I'm totally confused. But that notwithstanding, I think that the Inspector General of Police came into office, and I know he had this concept of trying to carry the police along 2 legs. One leg is to win back public confidence. Let the public believe in their police. And he's doing everything to win the confidence of the public. And the other leg is to ensure that the police morale is risen or is enhanced. So that police officers, you wake up in the morning, you dress up, and you go out there believing that you are dying for Ghana, and Ghana will appreciate you. I think so far he's done well in winning the public support. And that is how come when we think that he's done something that is untoward, everybody say, no, this is strange to the Dr. Dampare's administration. The Dr. Dampare we know is trying to be a bold IGP, an IGP who is fearless, an IGP who believes in the law, an IGP who says that, listen, policing is all about providing a service. And the expectation of the public, if it is met, the public will give us a plus. And the public are the only ones who can assess that to say, oh yes, you are doing well, or you are not doing well. I've always said that, look, if you want to open up, please clean up first. For instance, if you have a guest in your house and you want to open up your toilet for a guest to use, you got to make sure that that toilet is clean before you open it up. Or else they will carry a bad name of your household to the public. What has Dr. Dampare done? You know, the police is a centralized command system. Everything rises and falls with the IGP. And that is how come a constable commits a crime or misconduct himself or herself in Hamley, in Axim, in Tikubo number 1. And the next morning on the front page of any newspaper is the picture of the IGP. And probably he doesn't even know this constable. He doesn't even know what has happened. He's probably not got into the office to read anything yet. But his picture is there because he is the head of the institution. Bullion van robberies, when they started, I remember it was during Mr. James Opombonu's time, and he made a statement that he gave the banks and all the security agencies 1 month to procure properly fitted metal-plated bullion vans. Because the service instruction says, if it is not a bullion van, police officer, don't sit inside. You are risking your life. So he said he wanted to enforce that rule. And I told him blankly, my senior brother, if you give an ultimatum of 1 month, it's not practicable. If you place an order for even a bullion van, it won't take 1 month for them to deliver. And the Bank of Ghana was also saying 3 years. And the question I asked was, you want us to sit in this country and wait for 3 good years before we get bullion vans and police officers will continue dying? That is unacceptable. And I think that they went into a negotiation. I hear that a lot of bullion vans now at the port, waiting for clearance, and that one too is suffering from bureaucracy.
Yeah, the Ministry of Interior is blocking.
I don't know what the bureaucracy is. And all of a sudden, I saw another attempted attack on a properly built bullion van. That was what got my mind thinking. No police officer, a trained police officer, who decides to become a criminal, and for that matter an armed robber, will go and attack a properly built bullion van. Because they know what it is. And they know that if you are firing at that, you are wasting your time. And it probably would have even discouraged many armed robbers from chasing bullion vans to look for money. What we are saying this morning is that if you look at the popular phrase now in the police, intelligence-led, anytime I read that, I smile. You know why? When you talk about intelligence-led, you should have a system in place to be able to use that phrase and use it well. What is intelligence? Please, I can't just look at intelligence and liken it to crude oil. Okay? Information can be likened to crude oil. Intelligence can be likened to what you get at the pump. So when you have a lot of information put together, you need to get people who have the expertise to analyze the information. You need to have people who have the expertise to be able to come out with the data, analyze it, and come out with something we call intelligence. Where intelligence is wrong, of course, your operational strategy will be anchoring on that wrong intelligence, and you will surely get it wrong. When intelligence goes wrong, deaths can occasion. When intelligence goes wrong, chaos can break loose. So when you say you are talking about intelligence-led policing, anytime I hear it, I get excited because actually that is the way to go. Intelligence-led policing, as any concept will have its own pluses and minuses. The positives are there. If you get it right, you will save a lot of lives. If you get it right, the police image will be enhanced. But if you also get it wrong, people will ask me, what are you doing? Some time passed, I remember the RESEC chairman of the Ashanti region, the regional minister. He said he got intelligence and he asked the military to go to Edra. When I heard that, I smiled. I said, regional minister, that is not intelligence. You got an information. That piece of information should have been passed to the professionals. They will put it in that system and analyze it and be able to advise you whether we should respond in this particular way or that particular way. But if you hear information and you start advising soldiers to go to the scene, you see, that is a reckless approach to security. But I don't blame him because he has no knowledge in security. The fact that you are chairman of a security council, I've always said this, the fact that you are chairman of a security council doesn't make you the council. You are only the head of a professional group of people put together for you to provide policy direction, representing the president. But the technical details and operational details must be done by the people under you. You see, so you talk about intelligence-led policing. You know, in intelligence-led policing, we have the traditional intelligence and we have artificial intelligence. If you are looking at traditional intelligence, you need to have the men. If you are looking at artificial intelligence, you need to have the experts. And they'll put all these together. When they come out, and if it is an intelligence-led operation and there is a mess, please go back and check how the intelligence was analyzed. And the results of the information that was analyzed will tell you that there was some wrong input somewhere, and probably the expertise that you expected. The police should begin to look at recruiting some information analysts, recruiting some crime analysts, recruiting some what we call modus operandi cell analysis. You put all these modus operandi of the criminals together and get an expert to sit and analyze it and advise the police. If you are going to Morteman and you've been briefed well, and you know that these are hard, and the situation is such that you can identify the location, you can mark it out, and you sit in the room and decide to plan. When you plan and you go out there based on the intelligence, if you end by people dying, you ask yourself, was it anticipated? If it was anticipated, fair. If it was not anticipated, it means that something went wrong. Either the intel was wrong, or the operational strategy was wrong, or the men did not understand what we're supposed to do there, and they mess up. But all in all, I think that this is the first time I am challenged in my mind to question whether the police got it right or got it wrong. But you know, I'm believing that by now, Dr. George Akufu Dampare should have some trade document on his decks. And if he doesn't, he should call for it. One, I want to have the ops strategy. What is the operational plan? Bring me the operational plan. And number two, can you give me a post-action report immediately after the incident that the two witnesses, that the two people who agreed to support you, the two accused persons, after that incident, I want that report. Preliminary report as it may be. I want it now. And the last one, there should be a report on what we call the after-action review. You've designed a strategy. You've executed the strategy. These are the outcomes. Did they really meet the expectations? Was that really what you wanted to get? If it is no, the after-action review will show. If it is yes, the after-action review will confirm. So these three reports, if the IGP gets it, I will expect another statement. Another statement to follow what has been signed by DCOP Kosifori. If that happens, the IGP has promised to be very transparent, and I love that. If you're not a bold person in security cycles, you don't attempt transparency. That is why in many jurisdictions, a lot of things happen and you can't even question them. And do you know why sometimes when we talk about expensive presidential travels, they say it is the national security minister who have to cater for that. And the national security minister comes to say, it's an operational budget. You don't account for these things. The case is dead. That is security. You can actually use security to muzzle up so many things and keep many things quiet. But Dr. George Akufu-Dampare says, as bold as I am, I want to open up. Whatever I do, I will tell the public. If I am wrong, I will agree that I am wrong. And please, I will learn from that. If I am right, people should acknowledge that I am doing things right. So far, Dr. George Akufu-Dampare, so good. I think that his boldness and the fact that he wants to open up is something we should need to encourage him to do. But for the Boteman incident, I am quite convinced in my heart that the IGP will look at it again and look at it again. You see, as a former police officer, I can tell you, if I have a replay, in other words, if the scene is reconstructed, it will possibly realize that, the police officer didn't do anything wrong at all. Because if you carry two suspects,
and that's the question I want to ask. Yes. Is that normal?
Listen, if you carry two suspects who agreed to assist you to unravel a mystery that is the headache for the whole of Ghana, robbery, and particularly robbing bullion vans. If two suspects are arrested and they happen to be within your fold, and they agree to support you, and you sit down and design a strategy, right? We are going in there as you advise us to do. We know that your colleagues can be armed. We know that they can be dangerous. Today, you are not armed. You have become a vulnerable person that will protect you. But in protecting you, we must protect ourselves. But if your information happens to be a lie, you know what? These young people who were shot dead, unfortunately, may their soul rest in peace, condolences to their families. They can actually lead the police into that environment and they'll kill all the police officers. Because they can provide you information postering that they want to support you, and they will lead you into an arena. All of a sudden, before you realize, you are eclipsed, ambush, and the other police who actually belong to the gang will finish the policemen. So people should understand that it is possible that these young men who agreed to assist the police could have actually led the police to be killed. So if the police at the point in time senses danger, if you look at the service instructions, the only point in time that the police officers are allowed to use weapon, there are several scenarios. But one of the key things is that if your life is in immediate danger, and you think that any other thing possible to do cannot save you, and the weapon is the last resort, please don't wait to die. Use it. Use it to protect your own life first before you think about the citizens. And that is how come police officers can shoot and kill. Not because they want to kill, but they must protect their own lives. So for me, I want to get the scene reconstructed. If the scene is reconstructed...
Discretionary, right?
Yes, that's discretionary. If the scene is reconstructed, we'll begin to get a clear picture. This is how come they died. Let's assume that these two young men were asked, please, because of the information you've given us, we are positioning you here. Don't move from here until the operation is over. And probably the two young men, if they were also trying to be smart enough to say, let them move. When they move, we know what communication we have with our colleagues. If you move from where you are positioned, even the bullet from the police officer themselves can kill you and they wouldn't even know. Only to get to realize that you get to the point where these suspects who have agreed to assist you were positioned and they are not there. Then you start to search the scene, get to realize that they had moved from where they are supposed to be, and they are in line with fire, and they will die out of that line. So sometimes if you don't get a clear picture of the operational strategy and how it was executed on the ground, you might be pointing wrong fingers at the police. But for me, professionally, until I get the playback, I get the scene reconstructed, and I get the IG getting these 3 documents, reviewing, and let DCOP Kosifori come back again with a clearer statement, I think that all of us sitting here, we still have a lot of questions that we need the police to answer.
So in your estimation, just to be clear on this, there has to be a clear-up statement on this matter because there are questions to be answered.
Oh yes, this is a process. What DCOP Kosifori wrote there, he's telling us that there is more to come.
Okay.
Right? Probably more people were arrested. And this particular incident, I'm sure that the police will come out with a clearer statement. It's on investigation and they're investigating it. Sometimes we say the police cannot investigate themselves. I agree. But where are the systems? In some jurisdictions, you have the Independent Civilian Complaint Commission who can go in there to investigate this. The police they don't need to do it themselves. But the system will run now, the police will have to do it. And I'm sure that Dr. George Akufu Dampare, if he gets these 3 documents, he can be guided as the steps to take. Listen, he's somebody that I